All right, so we are trying to do this. I think we got most of it working. I don't know that we're connected to Facebook. Can you tell? I don't think.
I don't believe we are. I'll go and see if I can hit the live button while we're here.
Yeah, so try that. But anyway, we are on YouTube. Thanks everybody for being here. We're in the middle of a software switcheroo here, so things are a little bit new. But hopefully, you're seeing this and hearing this okay. I hope everything looks good to you and sounds good to you. But here we are, regardless, for good, bad, or worse.
Yes. Hello, everybody, and thanks for coming and hanging out with us tonight. We got some great investigations coming up, and looking forward to actually talking about those. But let's open up some chat here.
I'm really surprised that you don't have St. Patty's Day plans, Jay. I'm kind of surprised about that.
I never do anything on St. Patty's Day.
You don't?
Do you?
No, never. Somebody said the mic's hot. See if that's any better. We're making adjustments as we go along here, since it's the first time we're doing it.
At least it's not echoing.
No echo. That's a victory right there. Reverb. You don't have reverb. You don't have reverb. There's no way. I'm just waiting to see what folks say. It's a little bit delayed. Just give us a second to make whatever adjustments we need to make. We're working them now. Jason's mic's really loud. Lower. You need it lower. Let me do it here, Jay. Let me do it here.
Not a problem.
Let me just adjust it here. How about now? Talk for us.
1 2 1 2. Hello, everybody. How are you? Just Jason's natural voice.
Well, yes. You've got that baritone, kind of.
I've got that deep voice going on. How you doing? New investigations with the tapes team. Casey, I think you mean the tabs team.
Tapes.
Yeah, I will be. There'll be investigations going on. I know Sherry will be joining me on some. Steve, Dave. So we definitely doing some good stuff. We got a lot of investigations planned. It's just tough because Dave lives in Florida. Sherry's up in Mass. Steve's been out doing his book thing, even though he's in Mass as well. But we're making it work.
Okay, so they're saying you got a raspy voice. You doing that intentionally, or are you trying to sound sexy? What's going on there?
You know me. This is my voice. It's like, what am I supposed to do? Hey, you want me to clear my throat? Testing. 1 2 3. I don't know, man. Just the way it's always done.
Sharon, how are you? Thank you. Good morning, you're saying, because I think, if I remember correctly, Sharon, you're in Australia, so it is morning in Australia, right? Isn't it like 16 hours ahead or 18 hours or something?
It's up there. Hey, Jen Jen hates social media. I see you on there. Thanks. Jen's the mod. She does great work. Keeps everything cranking. I see. All right. Spirited. Loved Austin's family questionnaire video. Yeah, so those who haven't seen it yet, my son Austin, he created a YouTube page. Sorry, it's at Austin Hawes, and he does investigations. He's actually posting one on Fort Weatherall this coming Wednesday. So if you can get over and like his page, he's having fun, and he's doing things about some historical stuff. He's doing videos on investigations. I went and hung out with him in Fort Weatherall, so we had a good time.
Sorry, just doing a quick type here in chat, trying to say hi to folks. Somebody just suggested, Jay, that you should have dyed your beard green. Why didn't you do that? It would have been really festive.
No. Why would I have done that?
Because it's St. Patrick's Day. The funny thing is, I think at least your fleece is kind of green. I got nothing green on.
No, it's gray. It's gray.
Oh, is it?
Your color stuff. But yeah, it's. Okay. I'm more German than anything, so it's like, I don't know.
Isn't everybody Irish on St. Patrick's Day? Isn't that kind of the thing?
Well, yeah, I guess everybody. Yeah, everybody's got a little Irish.
Everybody's got a little bit of Irish in them. So. I wanted to mention a couple things before we get into a lot of questions here. One is that we just had our episode of our second visit to the inn at Lincoln Square in Gettysburg. And I just want to thank Gus and Hillary. They're such gracious hosts. They were wonderful to us. Gettysburg is an amazing town. You and I had an opportunity to kind of poke our heads into a couple other places that we might get back to and do some investigating, which is exciting. We got to drive around the battlefield some, even though it was frigid cold. It was really cold.
Was it really that cold that day, though?
I think it was a little better. It was a little better during the day. But remember the night before when we were investigating how cold that was? That was when we had that real cold snap in February.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yep.
Yeah. But anyway, a lot of people have enjoyed the Gettysburg content. We've got more coming up. There's a lot of stuff to do there if you're interested in the paranormal, and we're going to tackle some more of those things. But what a great place. And again, thanks to the folks at the Inn at Lincoln Square for hosting us twice already. That was awesome.
Yes, we had a good time. And I mean, it's such an interesting location, and it's got such a history behind it. I mean, they talk about how at one point there were bodies pretty much from the basement floor up to the ceiling. I mean, it's heartbreaking, of course, but it's amazing as well. So,
well, you just know that the amount of emotional tragedy that occurred in places like that, you had bodies stacked up, but at one point those bodies were alive, and they were probably trying to save as many as they could. And they, the medical techniques during the Civil War, there was no penicillin. You basically died from everything unless you were lucky enough to be hit in a limb where you could just have it amputated. So the tragedy and emotion, Jay, that's imprinted in that building and many of the buildings around Gettysburg because of what happened there, I can't imagine that level of emotion that's imprinted on those places.
Well, just the amount of deaths, the way it happened, and of course that much more energy is out there, and it's able to get stuck in whatever. But and just think of the amount. First off, you're talking about getting hit in a limb and being lucky enough to have it amputated. Yeah, but with nothing to knock you out,
no anesthesia.
So yeah, it was like, gosh,
I know.
Somebody says, Jason Hun, do you need a lozenge? What the hell?
Yeah, you've got a raspy voice. It sounds like you might have a cold or something. I don't know what's going on.
I don't. If I get a cold tomorrow, I'm holding you responsible.
It can't go through the mics. It can't come through the mics.
I know. I don't know. This is just. Behind the microphone, I just talk like this.
It did sound like you just needed to clear your throat or something, but then everybody's talking about it, so I don't know. Do you remember there was a video circulating? A lot of people have referenced it since we posted the 2 Gettysburg investigations, but there was a video circulating for a while that somebody supposedly caught a spirit, and it was kind of moving around near some cannons on the battlefield. Do you remember that video?
I did. I do remember that, yeah.
Yeah. I just want to, if anybody's thinking about that video as a video of reference for Gettysburg, we debunked that video pretty easily. And if that's one you go to, it's clearly a smudge on the window that as the guy's moving around, it moves, the smudge moves with the way the car is moving, so it makes it look like a person moving, and it's not a ghost. Having said that, there's a lot of activity in Gettysburg, and if you're interested in exploring a great paranormal hotspot, I would highly recommend Gettysburg.
And thank you for the $2 super chat, Jose. Hey, I see Joe just showed up. Entity 7 Paranormal, Joe Vitale. Blame Beardo, Jason. Joe, I've been hearing that a lot of people have been blaming Beardo for different things. I don't know what the hell's going on with that.
What's that about? Something that I missed, or?
No, so Beardo does these videos where
sure.
he goes in, he analyzes stuff, and he'll call out what he believes to be fakery. And I think it was to a page Proving Demons or something. I'm not sure. Right there, the name should have been a flag, but I guess he made some videos or whatever, and then this person attacked him back and made some other claims. And I don't know, it just, I love YouTube because we're able to get out there and do videos and put it out there for everybody to see free of charge. I love that. But man, will I tell you, YouTube is a cesspool when it comes down to some of the stuff. And I think you'd agree with that, JV. It's just, and it's great that everybody has an opinion, everybody has a thought or whatever, and they're able to voice that. But there's a lot of people who just fuel, I don't know.
There's no better way to describe these folks that you're referring to other than keyboard warriors. They get really brave. They get really nasty. They hide behind their keyboards and their screens. They'll say things that they would never say to somebody's face through their keyboards. And it's really sad that that's what a lot of social media platforms, whether it's YouTube or Facebook or whatever, have come to. And it's frustrating because, it'd be nice just to have civil conversations about whatever the topic is, paranormal or not.
Well, and that's the thing, that when it comes down to like Beardo, whether you agree with him or not, he made a video. How him and I became friends was he made a video about an episode of Ghost Hunter, a live episode, and he made it in a way that I felt, all right, well, it was respectful enough that I'll respond to him. And I reached out to him prior and just wanted to make sure I was able to use his, use his footage in my stuff, and he okayed it and everything else. And from there, we struck up a friendship. And again, but if there was ever questions that I faked anything, he would say something. He would call me out, as well as Kenny or anything like that. You can be friends with somebody and you can deal with somebody in a respectful manner and still disagree and just do it in a positive manner. It's like, Jim, you and I have been friends a long time. We disagree on some things, but we're still friends. I mean, because we can do this in a respectful, positive manner. It's not me trying to trash you or anything like that. So, and that's like I said, that's how Beardo and me became friends. I became friends with the side-eye guy. Same way. He sent me a thing saying, hey, just so you know, I'm going to be making a video of you. I said, hey, have at it, man. I'm never going to ask you not to or whatever. And he goes, all right, well, I just wanted to let you know, feel free, do whatever you want. So, but you can strike up a friendship with these people. It's, because they're good people.
Well, that's such an important point, because we're seeing this permeate our politics. Not that I'm going to go political here, but for some reason, you just can't disagree. If you disagree, you hate each other. And that's just so unnecessary, whether it's talking about a paranormal topic, talking about politics, or talking about what's your favorite color. We should be able to disagree on things and still get along just fine. I mean, I think we used to be that way. I don't know if social media has changed all that forever or what.
Well, I don't know. When we were kids, let's be honest. When we were kids, you said something. You had to show up and see me at the bus stop the next day.
There is that. So, but that's kids. That's kids too. I mean,
I know, but I hate to say it, but sometimes I miss those days. I really do. So,
well, it was one way to settle an issue. That's for sure.
Well, yeah, because honestly, it was one of those things where, you resolve it and it's over. But now it's like anybody behind a keyboard. I mean, they can be under whatever name and say whatever. So, and I mean, they're not really being held accountable for it.
So I want to thank Haley Ship for the super chat. Thank you so much. And I also want to say hello to our friends at Empirical Paranormal. The episode that we've got coming up, which I don't know if you want to address the fact that we don't have a tour for that or not. It's up to you.
All right. So, well, I might as well. Okay. So I have a tour, but somehow, I don't know how the hell I did it. Thank you for the $5 super chat, Travis. I lost the guy who gave us the tour. I lost his audio completely. I have my audio, JV's, John's, and I don't have Eric, right? I believe his name was Eric. And I don't have his audio. I have no idea what the hell happened to it. So it's tough for me to put a 360 out there where you just hear us talking and you see him just moving his lips and you can't hear anything. So kick myself in the ass on that one.
Yeah, well, one of the things that I'm going to try to do to help compensate for that is that the interview that I conducted, I'll have a little more background and stuff in it that you would normally do in the tour that we won't have an opportunity to do this time. So that'll provide some of that background. But thanks to the folks at Empirical Paranormal for being so great in helping us set this up. And as I've said many times, Jay, and I know this, you don't have the same personal connection as I do to this place because it's the Bundy Museum, and the Bundy Museum has a connection to my hometown of Oneonta, New York, even though that's not where it was. So it's kind of personal for me and special in that way. So I'm really excited about it. We got some cool stuff, whatever, but it's not even about the paranormal for me with this particular investigation. It was just the historical connection.
It's a really interesting location, especially Rod Serling from the Twilight Zone. They have his collection there, and I mean, he's a famous person right from your area, and I never even knew that, to be honest with you. And I'm from upstate New York.
Hold on, though. John, who was with us on the investigation, he didn't know who Rod Serling was. Is that right? Am I remembering that correctly?
I'm not going to talk bad about John.
It's not bad. I'm not saying it's bad.
Yeah, I know. How the hell do you not know? I mean, imagine that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, Rod Serling, born in Binghamton. I think he lived in Ithaca for a long time as well. You know where Ithaca is, pretty close to where you grew up too. So, yeah. And so we get to talk about Rod Serling, the Twilight Zone, and the Bundy family, which you'll learn all about when the videos break.
All right, I see Teresa Dooley asking, who is Beardo? You can look up Beardo. Beardo Gets Scared is his YouTube page, and he's got a lot of great content. He really does, but he covers a lot of paranormal things, and it's neat because you can see sometimes people will be out there and they'll mask something, like they'll claim something's paranormal, but what they did was they went in and masked it. So they have a string, but they removed the string in editing or somehow hid it. And Beardo and others like that go in and find that, and they show you frame by frame where it happened, which I think is great. So, so you can check him out. Beardo Gets Scared, and also the Side Eye Guy, you guys can check out as well. I mean, they're good. Kenny Biddle, he's a good friend. You guys can check him out on YouTube as well.
And I think their work is so very important because, as you mentioned, Jay, with the software the way it is now and AI the way it is now, there are so many things that can be done to manipulate videos and trick people. And there are a lot of people that just really want to believe and they really want to see something. And some of these YouTubers, they'll fake the stuff, they'll throw it up there, they'll get tons of clicks on it. And I'm glad there are people like, Beardo and the Side Eye Guy and Kenny out there trying to keep everybody honest. Now, having said that, we put stuff up there on our videos that we're not sure if it's paranormal or not. We say that. We aren't saying this is always paranormal. We're just showing it for people to get their own interpretation of it. We don't fake stuff, but we show stuff that we aren't necessarily convinced is paranormal, but we think it's worth sharing.
Yeah, because I think, paranormal is such a broad word, so it's just above beyond the normal of what we're used to. So we're not saying it's a ghost. We're saying this is something that we can't figure out an answer for. And I think you always need those people to keep the majority of people in check. I mean, without that, they run rampant. Next thing you know, a demon is possessing somebody every investigation as I won't name any names, but we see that. On that same thought, let me just put out there, our hearts go out to Aaron Goodwin.
Oh, wow.
Ghost Adventures. Aaron, I met Nick and met a few of them, but never met Aaron. I think he's pretty much the only one I've never met. And I got to say, he's a phenomenal individual. So just, let's be honest. I mean, that is the worst kind of thing that can ever happen to anybody. You think you've got this perfect marriage going on, and, she's acting and acting like it's a perfect marriage. And the same, she's trying to have a hitman take you out. That poor guy will spend the rest of his life with trust issues. So, and we need to say that Aaron is a good person. Our hearts go out to him. We wish him the best. If he ever needs anything, we just got to reach out to us. But, yeah.
And just in case someone watching now doesn't know what we're talking about, when you and I are in the middle of an investigation and the news broke,
yep.
you got a notification saying, "Oh my God, Aaron Goodwin's wife was arrested for trying to hire a hitman."
And she hired she was going through a guy. She had become pen pals with a guy who, there was actually a Netflix or Hulu documentary on this guy who got so involved in cam girls, internet porn, that he ended up taking out his mother, father, and brother. And so he's serving life in prison. And this is the person she became pen pals with and tried to get this thing to happen through. I mean, it's just horrible. And the poor guy, like I said, that is the one person, you look at your loved one or your spouse, and, you usually have all the trust, all the faith in the world. And to find out something like that, I mean, that's devastating. I mean, he's going to have a problem for the rest of his life.
No, that's going to affect him forever. There's no question about that. But you're right about that. And even if you're in a a bad marriage, even if your marriage isn't working, at least you expect the spouse or yourself to have the conversation. Hey, this is not going well. I don't want to be in it anymore or whatever. But you never would in a million years expect the person that you married to be hiring a hit man to take you out. In fact, the texts between his wife, what's her name, Victoria? Am I getting that right?
Yeah, Victoria.
Victoria and this guy in prison saying, he's in the hotel now. What's happening? I need an update. I mean, that's how close this got.
Yeah, well, yeah. And then you got to think the only reason they found out about this, thank you, Norma, for $5 super chat. The only reason they found out about this was because the correctional officers did a sweep of the rooms like they do all the time and found the cell phone and decided to go through the cell phone. So, I mean, without that, this whole thing never would have happened. And then her claiming that, she thought she put like $11,500 aside for this and a $2,500 upfront payment. And supposedly she thought this was for cell phones. Come on. I mean, first off, they don't have cell phones in there. And if they do, they're keystering them. I don't even want to get into the details of that one. But yeah, so
it's making you squirm a little bit. I think.
You better hope it's not an iPhone Max.
Oh God!
But,
we have a mutual friend, Mandy Cummings from Ghost Sisters, and her husband is a higher up. I don't know. I think he might be in charge. He's not the warden, but he might be in charge of the guards at a prison. And I sat once with him, Jay, and listened to the stories of the things they found shoved up people's butts. I mean, the things they put there. I'm like, how the heck can you put that in your butt and walk through a gate with it? And I don't. It's unbelievable to me. So, I mean, we have to do a special about it.
Yeah, of course I can't get into too many details, but I have family members who work for the prisons, and I've got very close friends who have been working for the prisons for a very long time. So, yeah, and when you start finding out, it's like, wait, you got a 12-inch shank? What? Huh?
I don't.
What?
Oh my God!
What is that? And, I don't even. Yeah, I do not want to know.
No, I think I'd rather just stay in prison than be putting that stuff. Whatever. I guess we should probably not talk about it too much more. It's getting really gross.
Yes. All right. So yeah. No butt stuff.
No more butt stuff. So we've got the investigation coming up from the Bundy Mansion. That's going to be airing next Monday night. The investigation we've got an interview that'll go up before that. And you and I are hitting the road to a place that we started this whole YouTube thing at. And we feel like, okay, now that we've got basically a year under our belts, we kind of have a rhythm. We kind of have felt each other out better. We know how to, work together a little more fluidly. So we're going to go back because the place is huge.
Yeah, I appreciate you changing that last thing you said, felt each other out a little bit. Yeah, so no, I think we're in a better place. We know what we got to get done. It's tough because when I'm filming, I have a production crew with me, and I've got my director of photography, Kenny, and that's all Kenny's job. I don't have to worry about that. So they get their shots. They cover us while we're investigating, and then when we start doing it on our own, I mean, for a while there, it's like we weren't used to shooting the cameras at each other or trying to get each other when we talked. And then you watch the footage after and you're like, why am I aiming at the floor? And stuff. So thank you so much, Lisa, for the $20 super chat.
Oh yeah. Thank you, Lisa. In addition to getting better at just the I guess mechanics of it, we've gotten some new equipment, we've gotten some new things we want to try out in the bigger place, and of course we're talking about Bailey Seton Hospital, which is where the first investigation that we did in this YouTube journey happened, and we're going to have some guests that are pretty exciting to have part of. We like collaborating, so we get a chance to do some of that, and we're going to have a little more time to really thoroughly investigate this place.
Yeah, and that'll be nice. I mean, it's such an interesting building because it's an old seaman hospital. And, I mean, it was used it was burned down at one point because of what they call it, the immigrant riots.
Yeah, it was something like that. I think it may have been the immigrant riots.
Yeah, and they burned it down because they felt like, the immigrants were going to be coming in and bringing diseases and other issues, kind of like what we did to the Native Americans, and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, it's such an interesting place. Thank you so much, Puerto Rican.
Puerto Rican wants to know what happens in investigations, JV. You want me to tell some secrets? All I know is that all the stuff that's secret, we cut out because we laugh a lot during our investigations. We have a lot of fun.
We do a lot of stupid stuff, and then you realize, wow, we're adults. And we're acting like we're 15. So.
I know we do a lot of stupid stuff. We get ourselves laughing so hard, and it doesn't interfere.
And John's just as bad. John does it with us as well. He doesn't help out. He makes it worse.
Okay, can I bring something up then? Because you brought up John and just reminded me of something. There were a whole bunch of comments on the Inn at Lincoln Square investigation, the most recent one, when you had asked John to recite the Gettysburg Address, and then you led him into it using words from the Lord's Prayer.
Yeah,
people are like, that's not. I'm like, guys, it's a joke. If you watched our other videos, you know this is a running gag that we've done several times. People just take it too seriously.
There's always going to be somebody to bitch. Just let them bitch.
I guess you're
funny.
Right.
I put up the video of that video I had made of just a quick little thing about local legends in New England, and everybody loved it. Everybody loved it. And that's one guy comments. He's like, "That's it, Jason. You've lost all credibility in my eyes. Sam was in the 50s. You have him on a 1970s bike." I'm like, oh my God. I go, man, you know what? If you're just looking for something to bitch about, then just, go somewhere else.
But that's it. They just want to find something to complain about.
No, Sharon Corby. Jim did not pay me the $500 for the dice game.
I think we determined because it was spirit manipulation that it was not fair to have anybody paying any.
Show me the scientific data.
I think that was the determination.
So Satori and Cody just spent the last few days up there at the Shanley Hotel.
Oh, did they?
And yeah, they saw Kelly and stuff. And Kelly's like, I think your dad's psychic. Like, no, I'm not. So, no. I said, but damn, I got lucky on that. I mean, 12-sided dice.
Have they already spent the time up there?
Yeah, they just got back.
Did they try anything with the dice when they were up there?
I believe they did.
I wonder if they had any similar experience.
She didn't say. She didn't say they did.
I mean, again, if you don't know what we're talking about, Jason and I were investigating at the Shanley Hotel, another great place. Kelly is a wonderful hostess. She was really welcoming and gave us free reign of the place. And the first night we're investigating, we were just we're walking through the area they call the dining room, right? Wasn't the dining? Yeah. And there was a 12-sided die there. And Jay, just for a goof, said, hey, pick a number. So I named a number. He rolled it. It didn't come up. And then
I said, you're going to owe me 10 if, and I rolled it and it landed on 10.
So Jay says the number 10, rolls it, and he gets a 10. And to make a long story short, total of 4 rolls in a row, right? Wasn't it? Was it 4 or 5?
Yeah, but you know what I realized? We didn't show the ones from the next day. We never did. Remember the next day we went in and I rolled it twice and hit the numbers again?
That's right. But either way, So Jay had this incredible streak of calling numbers, and even at the point where he said, "I don't feel that. I feel this," and he gets it. And Kelly had told us the next day during the interview that a lot of people have had experiences whereby either they'll get hear it in their ear, a number called, or they'll see the dice kind of roll one more time to the number that they called, which is they're claiming to be spirit manipulation. So whether that's what was going on with Jay or not, I don't know. But man, it defies all statistical odds for you to get that many right in a row.
Yeah. Nimit Aurora said the dice thing was just a coincidence. Well, I mean, 4 to 5 times in a row, I think defies it being a coincidence, especially when you have a 1 out of 12 chance. And
it's not even like it was it's not like it was a 6-sided die. Your odds are a lot better there. It was a 12-sided die. Yep.
So, and just the fact, so I think I don't want to say that it was spirit activity, but I think it's a little more than a coincidence.
And it's not, let's see, anyone who calls a coincidence to roll D12 right now and call it, I'll bet if every single did that, it wouldn't happen again. That's the thing. You're right, Jacob. It wouldn't. And it's an 8.3% chance to roll the right number on a 12-sided die. I think that's the right fraction, 8.3%. And so if to do it twice in a row, it's 8.3% of 8.3%. To do it 3 times in a row, it's 8.3% of 8.3% of 8.3%. I mean, that's how the math should work. It's not 1 out of 12 every time. And you did it
you lost 8.3%.
4 or 5 times in a row. So
and then the next day, we didn't even show that though. The next day, did it twice, and it was like boom. So, and the nice thing was that we had our 2 cameras. There was a stationary camera, and Kelly had a camera in there as well, so you could see it from all angles, uncut. No, nobody playing with anything. And I think that's the most important thing. Is you're never going to see sleight of hand edits on us. It's like this is what happened. Take it away.
You even said it at the time. After I think the third one, you're like, okay, just so everybody knows, we got cameras all over the place. We can show you uncut footage of this happening. We didn't manipulate anything. We rolled it and watched, and we had like 4 cameras rolling the whole time. So, and didn't you just
Austin Hawes?
You just posted one of the uncuts, right? Or one of the raw footage.
Yep, yeah, I just put it up there for everybody to see it. So, yep, Austin's in chat now.
Hey, Austin.
He's a good kid.
He is a good kid. We had fun working with him. Where the heck were we? Oh, should we say? We were at Investigation. Austin joined us.
Yeah, we were at SK Pierce. I mean, Austin, he's like a bull in a china shop, though. Because, being 6'4", 6'3", 6'4", 240 pounds, he doesn't go anywhere gracefully.
He's a big boy. Good for him. Good for him. He got the good genes there. That's for sure. Wow.
Don't say that, because his poor twin brother is only like.
Well, he got different good genes, just not the tall ones. Wait, they've got a birthday coming up, don't they? Not too far from now, right?
They do. May 6th and 7th. Yeah.
Twins born on different days. It's a great story, folks.
Yeah. Austin, 11:55 p.m. and Logan like 12:19 a.m. So.
Wow.
All right. Trying to read some of these questions in here. All right.
JV spoiler.
One that we're planning to use. Actually, there is, and I haven't sent you this, JV, but my good friend Sean over at Ghost Stop just created. It looks like a freaking starfish. I don't even know how to explain it, but yeah, we can. It's got like 5 legs that go in different directions, and so we're going to be using that on this next investigation.
Oh, that's cool. That sounds cool.
Yeah, especially if we go to Bailey Seton, because there's so many area, and it picks up EMF, picks up a bunch of different things. Bailey Seton has so many doorways or areas that are smack dab in the middle of all these other doorways. They go different ways.
Yeah, that's great. That'll be a great tool to use at a place like Bailey Seton. We've gotten some great stuff. I mean, some of the things we've been able to use has been really awesome.
Yeah. So, and for those of you who are asking about Austin's page, it's just at the @ Austin-Hawes. So, should be pretty easy to find.
Toei, I have to thank Toei. One of our lives, Jay, I think it was one that you and I were doing. We were around Christmas time. We were talking about Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol. Do you remember having that conversation?
Well, you were talking about it because I had no recollection.
That's right. Okay. I was talking about it. Well, Toei, good friend and longtime viewer, did a remarkable thing and actually sent it to me, the Mr. Magoo Christmas Carol.
Wow.
So I did watch it. I will have to say that it wasn't quite as engaging as I remembered it, but I still loved it.
I mean, you got to think. I mean, first time you saw it, you were in your 40s. So now it's like 40 years later. So what?
Man,
Stokes Paranormal. Jason, just want to say thanks. I based the foundation of my group on your investigation standards. Well, thank you, Stokes. I never want somebody to base their group on what we said, but I mean, just this is our style. This is the way we do it, and if that helps you and helps further the field, then awesome, man. And I'm very happy to hear that. So thank you. All right, let's see.
We still have to do something about you and Green Acres. The fact that you have never watched Green Acres is a bit of an American sin, I think.
Thank you so much, Jacob, for the $2 super chat. And just real quick, Cole 45, what do you think of Nick Groff? Nick, honestly, I've hung out with Nick a few times. He's always been down to earth, nice guy, easy to talk with, easy to get along with. So yeah, I like Nick. Again, I've met Nick. I've hung out with him. I've talked a couple times to Zach. It's, Aaron seems like a great guy. So, but okay. So no, I don't want to go. What do I want to know about Green Acres?
It's really funny. It's a really good, funny show. Okay. So one of the things I've got to say, and I think it's mentioned in the episode itself, but at the end of the last night, we were at the Inn at Lincoln Square. We're sitting in the chairs. We're exhausted. We'd been investigating for 3 days, long days when we do this. So we're tired and we're getting a little punchy and a little giddy. And we start singing TV theme songs. Remember?
I remember. Yeah.
So that footage is not in the episode. And I think we should set a goal. If we get to, 150,000 subscribers, whatever, we'll set a goal. We'll release that footage. We'll put it up on the page, on the channel.
Oh gosh. Well, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yes. All right. I mean, we'll watch it first, Jay. You and I will sit down and watch it to make sure.
Yeah. I remember singing Gilligan's Island.
Yeah.
The opening and closing.
Yeah, that's right.
I think I highly surprised you that I knew them both.
That was impressive. Yeah. That was impressive. And I brought up F Troop, and I think you said, what the hell's F Troop?
I don't even know what F Troop is.
I can't believe you don't know F Troop.
It sounds like a bad site I shouldn't be visiting.
It's such a great show. I think it probably only lasted 2 seasons or something, but it was so good.
I don't know. I've never even heard of it, to be honest with you.
You've never even heard of F Troop?
I've never heard of F Troop until you brought it up.
Wow. Come on, back me up here in chat. I mean, come on, F Troop now. I think we sang
90-year-olds are there.
We sang "I Dream of Jeannie." We sang the Beverly Hillbillies. I think we sang.
I couldn't have sang "I Dream of Jeannie." I don't know the song, but
all right. Well, I know you sang Beverly Hillbillies.
Oh yeah, I mean, of course, everybody knows that song.
Of course.
Well, I used to make fun of my wife with that song because
she's from West Virginia.
Her family's from like out there, yeah. So
I'm trying to think of how it goes. I can't even come up with it now.
I'm not doing it, Jim.
Come on, do it. I was trying to get you to do it. Shit. No. I was trying to get you to do it. See, look at it. I love F Troop. I love F Troop. See, people know F Troop. Petticoat Junction was good. That was a spinoff of Green Acres.
Hogan's Heroes. Now I remember that because when I was growing up in upstate New York, where I was, we only got like 2 or 3 channels. So, and Hogan's Heroes played on one of them. So, yeah, because you really didn't have any cable or anything.
I am an uber Hogan's Heroes fan. I am, to the point where I was communicating through email with Robert Clary, the guy that played LeBeau, the French prisoner on Hogan's Heroes. For several years, he and I had a little email correspondence going on.
He played what on Hogan Heroes?
He played LeBeau, the French prisoner. Remember? Right. He wore the maroon colored in the beret.
I just remember the heavyset guy. I hear nothing.
Yeah, Schultz. Yeah, John Banner.
And then I know the main star. He kind of had a little.
Bob Crane had a little personality quirk. Yes, he did. And have you ever seen the movie Autofocus?
Nope.
Watch Autofocus, Jay. Watch it.
Why?
Because it tells you all about Bob Crane and his personality quirks.
Geez.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
Yeah, growing up, we got ABC, NBC, and CBS. Yeah, and sometimes we only get 2 of the 3, so it all depended.
Let me tell you about a story. Let me tell you a story about a man named Jed. Poor mountaineer, barely kept his. Now I remember. Okay.
And one day shooting at some
food. Up. Yep.
From the ground came a bubbling crude. What's the story with the Villisca X murder house? Real paranormal? I've never been there, to be honest with you. I know I was invited to go out there in the past, but I've never actually gone there, so I can't really tell you on that. All right, Amy Van Doing. Are you worried about a spirit following you home on an investigation? That's why I stopped doing it. Can it be prevented? Damn, something to follow me home. I can investigate it from the luxuries on my own couch. I'm perfectly content with that. I don't have a problem with that. So, All right, let's see. Empirical. Oh my God, Memory Lane. I remember all those shows.
Adam 12. Did you watch Adam 12 or Emergency? Nope. Remember Emergency?
No.
My dad was a fireman, so I was really into Emergency. I thought it was the best thing ever. I can't remember.
I don't know 90% of these shows you talk about.
Wow.
I mean, it was like, I remember the earliest shows I can remember were like Welcome Back, Kotter. And I remember my dad always watching Barney Miller.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't really watch those. I knew of them, but I didn't really watch those.
No, because you were too busy with F Troop. And Green Acres.
Well, it's those the shows that we're talking about: F Troop, Green Acres, whatever, Dream of Jeannie, Bewitched, all those shows. When you were home from school on a sick day, that's the stuff that was playing on the television in the mid '70s.
Every friggin' sick day, every time I was sick was always on the friggin' weekends.
Oh, see, that was your mistake. You got to get sick during the week.
And then it was like, or at Christmas, and it always sucked because I'd be sick. I'd have like a stomach bug through Christmas, and my birthday's right after Christmas. So, so all I remember, like Saturdays, I'd sit around, I'd watch Creature Double Feature.
Yeah, well, that was my favorite for sure.
That was something that I didn't have in upstate New York. It wasn't until we came to Rhode Island, because then I could somehow, with the little rabbit ears, get just enough to be able to tune into channel 56 in Boston. And, they always had Creature Double Feature on the weekends.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, how old were you when you moved to Rhode Island?
I was still in elementary school.
Were you?
Yeah. Yep. So, all right. Beats Airspaces. My dad also watched Dark Shadows. Well, Dark Shadows, the building, the front of it was actually Carey Mansion in Newport that we've investigated a bunch of times. So Denise Carey ended up just selling it not too long ago.
The Ghost in Mrs. Muir. I cannot believe you just mentioned that show. Do you know that one, Jay? The Ghost in Mrs. Muir?
The Ghost in Mrs. Muir?
Not in. That's a porn title. I don't know.
Well, hey, there's a Ghost Hunters porn.
Yeah, it's true. This is the Ghost.
This ain't Ghost Hunters.
Oh,
you got people like they have Dave Wango and stuff like that. I mean, this is no joke. Larry Flint and from Hustler sent his people to an event one time with a bunch of DVDs signed.
That's crazy.
From me, and on their they had black Pelican cases. You can look this up. Black Pelican cases, and it said PAPS, PAPS, not TAPS. And it's called This Ain't Ghost Hunters. Dave Wango and a bunch of others. It's so nuts. All right. Sorry, Regan, thank you for the $2 super chat. JV looks like a Benny Hill Uber fan.
I liked Benny Hill a lot. That was a lot of fun to watch as a kid. It was kind of risque for, a 10-year-old, whatever.
Benny Hill.
Yeah.
My dad would turn on Benny Hill.
That was funny.
Occasionally.
I mean, I was always a big Monty Python fan. So any of that British humor that we could enjoy, I liked. There was a bunch of stuff like that.
Empty coconuts. Yeah.
That's right. Yes.
All right, let's see.
Please don't
get the
daisies.
A lighthouse. I'd love to investigate another lighthouse. We'll definitely see.
Somebody just mentioned Mystery Science Theater 3000.
That was awesome.
I love
that show.
Love Mystery Science Theater.
We hung out with a guy.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we've hung out with a guy who did that. I used to have fun with that.
Love that show, and I actually enjoy Riff Tracks now, which is the Mike and Kevin and Bill from Mystery Science Theater do that. It's still funny, but those original Mystery Science Theater episodes were brilliant and so much fun. I still watch them.
All right, so what I got to figure out what Bitter Troll. Thank you so much, Bitter Troll, for the $5 super chat. But what do you mean the adult parody? Jason, did you watch the adult parody? Was it good?
Probably
you're referring to
the ones they showed you. Yeah, the ones they brought to you.
Ghost Hunters. I can't say I didn't because I had to.
That's very diplomatic.
How weird, yes. So, and they had people. They had somebody representing me. They had. I thought it was funny because again, they had somebody named Dave Wango. They had other things. So yeah, it was. It was interesting.
I love the way you did that. I'm going to have to remember that. Instead of saying yes, I can't say that I didn't.
It's not like I sat there tuning in, yeah.
Did you? All right. So Diane says, "What about?" I think it's funny. This is worked into an old TV show discussion. But Diane asks, "What about Hee Haw? Did you ever watch Hee Haw?"
I remember Hee Haw. Yeah, I remember Hee Haw when I was a kid. I don't remember seeing it much, but
I used to.
That's the one that they were on stage.
Yeah, they did these little bits, and they'd play a lot of music. And as a musician, now I look back at those episodes and I look at the musicians they had go through that series. And it's really awe-inspiring. There's some really, really amazing people that went through there, and I didn't appreciate it at the time, but now I do.
Yeah, I don't know. There was a lot of. I mean, geez. Then you think what in the '90s when you had like In Living Color and stuff, and all those shows seem to really derive from all those past shows.
Yeah, remember the age of and this? You may be.
Sherry Wagner says Jason has all shades of red after stating he watched the videos. Yeah, I'm not shades of red, but I guess I had to see how we were portrayed.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. Of course you should. You needed to see that.
Yeah, because they were. Yeah, again, it was called "This Ain't Ghost Hunters," but be damned, it I mean, like they were trying to be ghost hunters,
despite the fact that it's off color or whatever. There may be people that don't approve of it or think it's disgusting. Whatever. It's actually quite a testament to what you've done that they would go to the lengths of making an adult version of what you've done, right? I mean, that says a lot.
You know what? Hey, how many people can say I've had a porn made about me? I've had, South Park, an episode of South Park. I've had all these things. I mean, it's great.
It is crazy. So, I mean, when you think about it, and you rarely bring it up, but it's really crazy. That's amazing.
I don't know. I don't know. So, the Gong Show. I remember the Gong Show.
Chuck Barris.
He used to irritate the hell out of me.
He used to be always drool. Remember that? Chuck Barris, he'd always be drooling.
Oh,
you probably don't remember.
You remember way too much stuff. And AJ Paranormal, I bet Jason loved the movie Bats, B-A-T-Z. I never saw the movie Bats.
Yeah, I don't think it matters. Just the fact that it's bats. They're going to assume that you wouldn't like it.
Yeah. So, okay, what do we got? South Park did you all dirty? No, honestly, Jacob said South Park did us all dirty. No, they had actually reached out to us and they had told us, hey, and I was like,
it's
awesome,
fun. Yeah,
let's have fun with it. And then we sat down the night it was airing and watched it and promoted the hell out of it on I think I don't remember if it was MySpace or Twitter or whatever it was, but Chris Williams, me, and we all sat in the room and we just laughed our asses off.
It was so funny. And it's also, again, it's a monument or a testament to the fact how popular Ghost Hunters was at the time, that it was attracting that kind of attention. I mean, I think it's huge. And you're right. It was funny and you took it in the right way. You took it in the right spirit. And I think most people do. So it's great.
Diane Introvert said X-Files. Yeah. Now I loved X-Files, Fox and Mulder and Sully. And here's a little unknown information. Chris Carter, who created X-Files, did that whole thing, was the original person I was talking to about doing the show Ghost Hunters.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So, yeah, he'd come to us. He wanted to do Ghost Hunters. And yeah, so, but thank you so much for the $2 super chat, Jennifer Niebuhr. Have you read Amy's cookbook? What do you think? No, I have not. I didn't even know she had a cookbook. So what do I think? Never eaten any of Amy's food, so I don't know. But
and I know how to cook everything that I want to cook, so I don't need a cookbook. Grilled cheese, macaroni and cheese, and hamburgers. I'm good.
How have you lived to the ripe age of 83?
83. Thank you very much.
I mean, no. I mean, in all honesty, it's like, yeah, you got to eat better than that.
Well, I eat a lot of broccoli.
Oh God, I don't want to. Yeah, all right.
You don't like broccoli? Or you don't want to talk about me eating broccoli?
I'm not a fan of broccoli. Broccoli and cauliflower. Never been a huge fan of it.
Cauliflower, no, but broccoli. I like broccoli. And I eat a lot of it.
Oh yes, I did say Sully. Sorry, Scully. So, $6 Million Man. William Rogers says yes. It was a good show.
Oh my God, remember that? And $6 million, you couldn't even buy a bionic arm at this point. But back then, the $6 Million Man.
Remember he fought Bigfoot.
Yeah, that was the jump the shark moment, wasn't it? For that show,
definitely the shark moment. Yeah. Kind of like Fonzie. Yeah. Well, it would if nobody understands the whole jump the shark thing. It's a thing that dates back to Happy Days when Fonzie jumped
water skied
pool. Yeah,
water skied. Yeah.
Yeah, so
and it really basically and basically it's the point at which Happy Days was irredeemable as a TV show. It lost all its appeal, and that's Jump the Shark the moment. It's made it into pop culture as a way to describe anything that's gone past its prime.
Thank you for the $2 super chat, Jacob. Yeah, and he says, "I'm glad y'all such good sports about parodies." Absolutely, it's fun. Honestly, it's fun because somebody took the time to invest into doing that. So. Puerto Rican, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Jason, review past Phantom Smells with JV Brown. Yeah. No.
Oh, I think it was Puerto Rican that had said earlier, and I meant to address it, that a lot when I was talking about people debunking things that we've put things up that we aren't necessarily saying are paranormal, but we think it's interesting enough to share. And he said usually it's JV's stomach. I will say this: my stomach is noisy. We've all had noisy stomach moments, but when it happens, we call it out at the time so that or edit it out. We don't include it. But I don't think we've ever had an instance where it's been one of our stomachs or something like that where we've included it as something we've caught.
No, not at all. And Alexandra, she says, Jason, I watched a movie called Ghost Team with you and Steve. Yeah, a friend of ours, director, was actually making that movie. And John, a bunch of people, the guy from Napoleon Dynamite and a bunch of others were.
It was John Hader, right? John Hader?
Yeah. Actually, we had him on our talk show in the past. And they asked us if we would do a cameo and stuff in it. So we did. We had fun with it. So it was a good time. All right. Let's see. What do we got, Jim?
You guys should ask Nick Groff to do an investigation with us. Cole, I think, Jason and I talk a lot about doing collabs. We love working with other people, and, we're open to working with just about anybody, almost anybody anyway.
Yeah. Well, yeah, almost anybody. But yeah, I mean, Nick and Tess are always welcome. So, Linda Casper, Jason, what has happened to the Ghost Hunters International guys? I mean, Chris Williams is still around. Barry's still around. I still talk to a couple of them here and there. So, Dustin, he's still around. So, all right.
While you're looking for questions, I want to go back to the episode we just did at the Inn at Lincoln Square because there was a lot of What's that?
Somebody said Quantum Leap.
Quantum Leap was awesome. Didn't they just remake that? Aren't they redoing that or?
Yeah, it sucked. It wasn't nowhere near.
You can't bring those classics back like that and redo it. It just doesn't work.
I should have brought him back in it.
Yeah, so. Exactly. But anyway,
what happened? Yeah, reboot of Ghost Hunters.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What, you're recreating Ghost Hunters, but it's not Ghost Hunters? What?
Yeah, right. Yeah. We could spend a whole show talking about that, I'm sure. But I want to talk about, just address something that was in the Inn at Lincoln Square episode from the last one we just released. We did a session with Andy Andrews, great guy, good friend, and he brought in a Phasma box, which is software he had on his laptop. A lot of people said, why are you guys using that? Why are you doing that? And I think it's important to understand that Jason and I don't use those tools. We just do not. We don't believe in them. We don't use them. But we do appreciate seeing how other people work and seeing how they use a tool like that, just to see if maybe we're missing something. I think the conclusion of that particular episode, or that session was we weren't missing anything. We're calling it right. It really was something that was just listening to what we were doing and spitting stuff back out at us and really wasn't making any contact. But it's important. Jay and I feel it's important, and I won't speak necessarily for you, Jay, but it's important that we show these things and talk about them and engage in a conversation and let other investigators at least give us a sample of how they work. And whether
go ahead. Sorry, because there's just one thing I want to call out, and I haven't seen it, so I'll just, I don't know if I can even show it here, but you always get people like this guy. Let's see. Come on, damn it. All right. You want to talk, just in case you can't read it. So Nick Nicoletti, So I don't hide anything, Nick. So, if you just come here to stir shit, then hey, I'll stir shit with you. That's fine. But he posts, can we talk about the remote controlled flashlight in Gettysburg?
Oh my God.
Dude, if you think I've invested enough time to find a remote controlled flashlight or to give a shit about it, really, come on. It's like, there's always got to be somebody stirring some shit. A flashlight turned off. Do I think it's paranormal? No, because I never heard a ghost clicking the flashlight. But am I going to sit there with a remote controlled flashlight and turn it on and off and try to hope that I'm getting views off of that shit? Come on, wake up, grow up, screw off.
Yeah,
whatever.
The other thing about that is if you watch the episode, you realize we weren't sitting there, let's see if the flashlight goes off. It went off. It turned off, which is what attracted our attention.
We weren't even around John the first time it happened to him.
That's right.
It's like, come on. And I don't know if you're doing it to be an asshole or if you're doing it to be funny, but if you're doing it to be funny, ha ha ha. If you're doing it to be an asshole, fuck you. So, anyways, moving on.
Yeah.
Sorry about my language, people.
No, you're absolutely right in what you're saying. It's just ridiculous for people to say things like that remote controlled flash. It's just silly.
I know.
We don't need to do that.
Yeah, I mean, get out of your mom's basement and go get a life. Yeah, so
exactly.
All right. Let's see. What do we got here?
Well, Amanda, thank you so much for the super chat. Hi, Jason and JV.
Thank you so much.
Happy St. Patrick's Day. In your own opinions, what New England state is the most haunted?
What's the most haunted? What state?
New England state.
Oh, New England state. Oh, I mean, you got to remember when the settlers came here, they weren't prepared for what winters were going to be throwing at them here. So, I mean, most of New England, and then they would try to grow crops, and they'd realize really quick that the ground's just too rocky, and the seasons are too short. So, I mean, they died. They froze to death. They starved to death, and that happened through all of New England. So I can't tell you which state's the most haunted. I mean, right here in Rhode Island, we have a lot of people don't realize there's the Great Swamp right over near Charleston, where a bunch of settlers and Indians had a clash, and the Indians removed their heads, and now people still see floating heads going through the woods, and same thing happened in Cumberland, Seven Men's Misery, and the list goes on and on. So I can't say what state is the most, I mean, what New England state's the most haunted, but I mean, if I had to say one of the most haunted areas, then I'd be looking at places like Savannah, Georgia, which is a place that's built on its dead. You got St. Augustine, Florida, and places like that. Tilly Duquette, Jason, you're killing me. Love the attitude. Hell yeah. Either like me or hate me, but just make up your mind. I don't give a shit. I don't got enough time in my life to worry about what everybody wants to sit there and bitch about.
Yeah, just to go back to the New England question, New England, I mean, Rhode Island is a tiny state. Most of the New England states are small compared to the rest of the states.
Rhode Island shouldn't even be a state, man. We're 32 miles long. I mean, 42 miles long, 38 wide. It's like, it's the size of most towns and cities.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. And then you've also got, I don't know if is Delaware considered a New England state? I don't think so. Is it?
No, but Delaware's the thinnest state in the country. And Rhode Island's the smallest state, and Delaware's the thinnest state, right?
Yeah, that sounds right.
They get it. In one area, it's only like 11 miles wide or something.
Yeah, it sounds right. And I'm not sure what all the relative populations are, but I think Massachusetts is probably the most populous New England state. Would that be fair, Jay?
Which state again?
Massachusetts.
Oh yeah, by far.
Yeah. I think by the nature it's just more populated. It probably would have more activity or more possible activity. And there's so many weird things that are in all of New England. I mean, the stories and the legends and the lore. You've been looking at them, Jay, and some of the projects you've been working on. There's so much stuff in New England. It was the first real hardcore settlements from the English, and for that length of history, because it's the oldest, there's the most I guess stuff to fuel this kind of activity.
Even though that goes into question, right? Because isn't like Virginia wasn't Virginia one of the original? Yeah. So
yes.
First off, I want to say happy birthday and thank you, the weirdness of me, for the $10 super chat, and very happy birthday to you.
Yeah, so, I mean, that was actually going to be a question I was going to ask you. What do you think happened to the Roanoke colony, which is one of the first off the coast of Virginia?
I think the water came in, and they ended up having to move inland, and the amount of time being away from the other settlers who had gone back for goods. I mean, they just integrated into the system. But anyways, what's your take on mimicking, where the voice sounds like your grandchild? I'm a firm believer in mimicking. If something hears your voice enough, it can mimic it. And sometimes if it's saying things and you're not hearing it, and then it mimics a voice like that and you acknowledge it, that's what they're looking for. So
great question. I'm sorry.
Super chat. Pamela? No, go ahead, Jimmy.
Yeah, great question from Lindsay Weber, and we've addressed this before, but I always like an opportunity to address it again. Your thoughts on spirit boxes and the Estes method. I'll go first. I know Jay has some real thoughts on this too. I'm not a fan. I don't believe spirit boxes are distinct enough that you can get real information that you can count on from them. Some people believe they work really well. A lot of people do, in fact. I don't. And it's too easy for those radios that are scanning the dials to grab words from radio stations that are just doing what they do, and for people to interpret them in one way or another. And when it comes
especially if they're running the AM ones, because George Norrie and Coast to Coast airs on endless AM radio stations, and they talk about paranormal, ghosts, UFOs. There you go.
It's all talk radio. So, and then as far as the Estes method goes, I'll say this about it. If you're going to do a spirit box session, the Estes method is the best way to do it, because at least that eliminates some of the bias that can be, discerned from what you're quote unquote hearing. Because if you don't know what the questions are, it's hard to have that bias. It doesn't eliminate it all, but it eliminates some of them. But still, I just do not believe the spirit box really does what it's advertised to do. I just haven't seen it to be convinced of it.
Yeah. So, and I have to agree with you, especially in a lot of the spirit apps, they're generated words. They're words that are programmed into it. So, and you saw it, the Shanley. I'm sitting there as I move it. It's giving me all different words where I tap, the behind the scenes footage that we just put up. You see, it's like I'm hitting the thing and it keeps on giving me words, and I'm playing off those words.
Exactly. Yeah, the apps, I think, are even worse than a spirit box, to be honest with you. Let me just say something. Lindsay, you said, thanks. I've always wanted to try the Estes method. I will say this. Try everything. Whether we believe in it or not, try it. See what you think, because you may get a completely different experience out of it, and that's good. But not a tool that I think you'll see either of us using it.
Yeah. And Bitter Troll makes a good point. Bold to assume a ghost from the 1800s knows how to use an AM FM radio. And I agree. And totally, just like, how am I teaching a ghost that if it gets a device up to a certain reading, it's going to say a certain word? Come on. Especially if I'd have to be there we'd have to work through this for years for this thing to be like, all right, if I get it to, 2, it's going to say, kill or whatever. It just makes no sense. So we had Kenny Biddle do the Estes method. He loved it. I'm sure Kenny did, Joe. So Kenny likes to be blindfolded in rooms with a bunch of people. So we'll leave it at that. No, but all right. Let's see. What do we got? 17th year anniversary today. Thought we both feel like it's been longer. Darker Shadows. Well, happy anniversary.
Oh, it's Darker Shadows. It's your anniversary today. Congratulations. Nice.
All right. Let's see. What's your opinion on K2 meters? I think is it true that it can attract bad spirits? No, it's not going to attract bad spirits. And it's actually not for finding spirits. We believe that it helps you find higher magnetic fields. So, but it's not attracting bad spirits. Not at all. I think it's funny. Everybody's laughing that I called out the trolls.
I'm glad you did.
That's what I do.
Glad you did.
That's what I do. Right, let's see.
Speaking of trolls, and I don't necessarily believe this is a troll comment, but we did have a comment that I just responded to on one of the videos. I think it was the Shanley one that said something like less talking, more ghost hunting. And I just want to point out that we have hours and hours of footage of us sitting in a room doing nothing, listening, whatever. And if something happens, we share it. But I honestly believe it's pretty boring if nothing's happening. So I'm not so sure it makes a lot of sense to show hours and hours of Jason and I sitting staring into dark rooms when nothing's happening. Call me funny. I just don't think that's entertaining.
I mean, then again, it's like, if you don't like it, there's a channel you can go watch that somebody gets possessed every other
That's true.
investigation. So It's like we have fun, we do our best, we're doing what we enjoy doing, and in return, we're also trying to put it out there for everybody who wants to see it, who enjoys to watch us do that, and that's great. That means everything to us. But you're always going to have somebody who doesn't like something, and if I don't like something, I just go and watch something else.
Yep.
So
that's the mature thing to do. JV must have a remote to Jason's finger. Yeah, I did that. I made him do that. I pushed the remote.
What are you doing, JV? Stop that. Do it again. Just again. Oh, Jesus. Stop it. Come on.
Let's see. There was a comment here. Oh, what about EV recorders?
Every time you did that, it made my belly button feel
EV recorders. We've actually been doing more EVP sessions during our investigations because people seem to like it. We haven't been. I actually haven't reviewed, and I don't know if you have, Jay, the ones we just did at SK Pierce, but we haven't caught a lot of stuff using EVP recorders.
No, honestly, it's more we've been catching stuff through the cameras and through the wireless microphones. So, but we'll just keep on going forward. Mother's favorite. What about Ouija boards? Seems kind of scary. Honestly, I don't think Ouija boards have any power or should be scary at all. I don't like the fact that you're asking something to communicate by channeling through you or using you as a tool. I just don't like that. So, so I don't think the board has any power. And Puerto Rican, you're damn right. It's Beardo's fault. So, it's Beardo's fault.
Jose wants to know, let's see, how do you feel about REM pods? Would you say they're okay for communication for a beginner hobbyist ghost hunting? I think REM pods are an interesting tool. They're just measuring certain atmospheric changes. I mean, that's not something that, can be manipulated by a programmer like an app can be. It's just measuring the environment. So I think it's a decent tool. They're not cheap to get a decent one, but I think it's a decent tool.
Yeah, I think the same. I like to put them on doorways and stuff. So if anything's moving through there. So, all right, let's see. I really like it when you guys use the thermal cam. Yeah, we'll use that a little more. The thing is, we have the thermals that plug into the iPhones and stuff. They're just not high definition. Of course, we'd love to get a better thermal, but that stuff costs money, and it's it's not like we're making bank here with YouTube. we're having fun. At least YouTube kind of offsets some of the cost to travel to these locations and stuff. But we're not living large.
We're not living large. Going to Wendy's for a burger, and
that's it. That's our last investigation was Burger King.
It was.
It's like every investigation I go to, I think I put on freaking 3 to 4 pounds.
I know we do not eat well. Or we eat too much. I want to go back to something you were just saying, though. You're saying, we do this because we enjoy it, and that's all true. But the other thing that's important for people to remember when they criticize whether we showed enough ghost hunting or not, we're really equally interested in telling the story of the place. It's the story and the history and the connections between whether it's Americana or whatever. Like this most recent one. We did at the inn at Lincoln Square. There was a connection to the Gettysburg gun, which we had investigated at the Varnum Armory. And that's a really cool connection.
They're all tied. Yeah, they're all tied together.
Yeah, so it's those stories that are really important to us too. Not just we love the paranormal stuff. Don't get me wrong, but we also really love telling these stories.
Yeah, and Emily Parkinson asks, "Do you think something can follow you back, even if it's briefly?" And yeah, an intelligent spirit can go wherever it wants. It's not locked into a location. If it wants to follow somebody, if it just goes roaming and finally comes across a small child that might be able to notice it, then they tend to hang out there. That's why a lot of homes that have hauntings seem to have younger children, and because kids are prone to be able to see things. They're not taught what's real and what's make believe. To a child, anything's possible. Big Bunny brings them a basket. A big fat guy comes down the chimney. It's not until we start telling them what's real and what's not that we start closing them off. So yeah, something can follow you anywhere. Hoss Black Silver, thank you for the $10 super chat. It means a lot. I just lost it. I don't know what the hell just happened to it. All right.
While you're looking for that, Linda said, does anyone know what they call that ear that they can hear when spirits talk? They used to use it on ghost hunters. Is that a parabolic? I'm not sure what we're talking about.
when spirits talk, we could hear it.
Linda says they call
parabolic like it's just something you're aiming.
Well, parabolic is just basically a capture device for a microphone. It just collects the sound waves,
so you can aim.
Yeah. I don't know if that's what she's talking about.
Today's my mom's. Tomorrow is mine. Well, happy birthday to your mom and happy birthday to you. The biggest was 94 when the family was able to send my mom with my brother's marching band to match in the Dublin St. Patrick's Day Parade. Oh, that's awesome. That's so awesome.
Darker Shadow wants to know what power flashlight we use. All I know is Jason has one that if you're not careful, you'll get a sunburn when he uses it.
I got it in the case right there.
Yeah, the thing's crazy. I think the ones I use are like 900 lumens, something like that. I'm not even sure.
Yeah, and then I also have the smaller ones which change color, which you can do red, green, blue, or white. And those are the ones I think we were using at the Inn at Lincoln Square. Right behind, hiding with my remote control flashlight.
That's right.
Stephanie Stone, Jason, are you still friends with Grant? Yeah, it's a tough question. It's, Grant, we wish him the best. I think his actions weren't well received with, a bunch of the people that are dear to me. So it's, would I still be there if he needed me? Yes. But, are we going to investigate again together? No. So. Jason, did you play the lottery the night you rolled the dice? Tilly, I really should have. I should have. What were you going to say?
That was the one I was going to read.
Oh, damn.
That was the one. Do you think intelligence... What?
What's the next one you're going to read?
Do you think...
Do you think intelligence... No, you go ahead. I'm screwed. Go ahead. It's all yours.
Do you think intelligent spirits are people that have passed, or have they always been there? It just doesn't make sense how God or whatever would allow some to roam the earth and some not.
Well, Sarah, I think it comes down to, is God making them roam the earth, or did they decide not to pass over? Did they decide? I think there's a big difference between a ghost and a spirit. So a ghost is, I would think more is like us. We just haven't passed on and gone to the light, or whatever you want to say. And a spirit is something that has. So, I don't think God is making the choice, or whatever. Whoever believes.
We'll also say this: if you're a believer in God, one of the things that religion, at least Christian religion, has taught us, or the Bible says, is that God put free will into the souls of people, of man. So I imagine that free will exists after the body dies. I can only imagine that's part of the innate being. Again, I'm not a theologian, so I don't really know, but it makes sense to me that would be the case.
That's a really big word.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Lindsay Weber, thank you for being respectful and not amping up drama around Grant. So refreshing. There's no reason to. So I wish Grant the best. I really do. So, Amy Van Nguyen, thank you for the $5 super chat, donating towards the thermal cam. Thank you so much. And, guys, of course, we don't push for the super chats. We don't do all that, but, they help. Of course,
we absolutely appreciate them. Yes. It's a capital intensive hobby that we have here, not just for the equipment, but the travel and all that. I'm sure you've gone out and tried to rent a hotel room recently. You know that those rates aren't cheap anymore. It's kind of crazy. Ridiculous.
Yeah. And, I figured, I always bring it down to which kid do I not want to send to college? So, it's like, that one's probably not going to make it. So that's fine. We'll just, we'll use the money for this.
That's hilarious.
Oh, man.
Totally. Let's see. The snack backpack that we take on investigations, we tend to, you actually are really good at it about it, Jay. You come with you've got sandwiches wrapped up and all this stuff.
Sandwiches? I had green beans and sugar peas, and you didn't even, you're like, you had these green things? Yeah.
It's like I said peas. Yeah, I think I said peas.
It's like, I asked you if you wanted a green, I try to eat healthy.
Yeah. Well, so, you do a lot better job of that than I do.
When you look back, man, up to like season 7 or 8 of Ghost Hunters, I was weighing in at almost 260 pounds. I mean, and then come back season 8, I dropped down to like 180, 185.
Yeah.
So
you worked hard at that. You did it.
Healthy, yeah.
Yep. JV's filled with Cheetos and beer. Actually, more like donuts and cinnamon rolls.
Pizza.
And pizza. A lot of pizza. Yeah.
Jimmy's full of pizza.
I love pizza. Yep. Can't help it.
Lindsay Weber. I'm almost 40 years old. My brother and I have been following Jason's work for like 25 years. I just can't tell how much of influence your investigations had on us. Thank you so much. That means a lot to me.
So Kimberly says, going back to Gettysburg hauntings, I've seen a video once where the drums and flutes can still be heard along the battlefield. Is this a real thing? I don't think I've seen that video, so I don't know, but I will just warn anybody. There's constant reenactors in Gettysburg, especially during the summer months, where they have encampments, they've got stuff going on, and if you're just hearing drums and flutes or whatever, it's possible that that's where it's coming from. I wouldn't jump right to paranormal, but I don't know, because I don't know the video that you're talking about.
Yeah, we'd have to see it, and also it's such a wide open area that, I mean, somebody in a different area could be playing an instrument as a trigger object, and you're just not seeing them because, it's dark. So.
That's right.
All right. Christy says, Jason, do you ever cringe when getting recognized in the world? It's funny. The nice thing is in Rhode Island, everybody is so used to seeing me because it's such a small state. So I'm at Walmart. I mean, and every so often there's somebody who's like, oh my God. So, when I leave the state is when it's more profound. I don't cringe. No, it's honestly, it's great to run into people who've followed my work for so long. So it means everything.
CM, I am a history buff. Jason is too. We both really enjoy and appreciate the history of the places that we investigate. We talk about this stuff all the time when we're driving places. We're constantly having these conversations, and we're fascinated by it. I don't think there's any other way to put it. We're really fascinated by it.
All right, so let's see.
Don
Jay,
thanks.
the wildest thing JT Gazeway. Jay, what is the wildest thing you've ever caught since you started investigating? Well, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we've caught that I can never air because it falls under confidentiality agreements. So, I mean, we've caught some crazy things.
We've caught some crazy things just in the year almost that we've been doing this. I mean, we've heard some clear disembodied voices. We've seen things moving. We caught some crazy thermal images. I mean, we've just in the short time we've been doing this, we've got some amazing things.
And Barbara Boyden, thank you for the $20 super chat. She asks, Jay, did you get a chance to see the picture I sent to Satori? I was wondering if it's a ghost or shadow figure. Satori just got back from a trip to the Shanley Hotel, so I will talk to her tomorrow and see about taking a look at it. JV, how did you and Jason meet? And that was online dating.
Yeah, it was farmers only.
Farmer's daughter. JV and I met more than 20 plus years ago at a fundraiser event I was doing for Rolling Hills. And JV came up and we were playing pool, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a few drinks. We woke up to each other's arms. But we did have a few drinks. I remember that.
We did have a few drinks. That did happen.
We had quite a few drinks. But
yes, we just realized we had a lot in common, and we liked a lot of the same things, and we started talking about stuff, and the next thing you know, we're partnering on businesses and projects and whatever, and just having a great time snowmobiling and whatever else we were doing at the time. Just having fun.
Michelle asks, have you guys ever considered investigating the Alamo? There's a lot of history and death. I would love to. I'd check it out in a heartbeat. So, all right, funny men. Sorry.
So I have to tell you. So I went to Syracuse over the weekend. My daughter is taking the reins of a convention that was going on for a long time called Scaricon, and she's now resurrecting it because since COVID it hasn't happened. And I just went up to check out the hotel that she's having it in so I could offer some advice. And I went to the mall that's there. Nobody goes to malls anymore, Jay. I don't know if you've been to a mall recently. Oh my God.
I try not to. Yeah.
But they're like ghost towns. Literally. You want to talk about going somewhere and investigate? These are ghost towns.
It reminds me of Dawn of the Dead, the second one, the original.
Yep.
And it's like where they took over the super mall.
Yep, exactly. Anyway, so I went to the mall. It's one of the biggest in the Northeast, and I just killing time. I went by the Barnes and Noble, and there was an author setting up her display there. She was doing a book signing, and she had a big sign thing there, and it talked about the name of the book was The Girl in the Glass Coffin. So that intrigued me. So I asked her what this was about, and she wrote a historical fiction about a story in Oswego, New York. You know where Oswego is. About this family. It was a wealthy family around the turn of the 20th century whose daughter died of appendicitis. She shouldn't have died. They could have helped her, but they didn't. She ended up dying, and they were so distraught that instead of burying her, they put her in a glass coffin and kept her in the house for over a year. The authorities eventually get involved, and they force them to move her to a cemetery. The family builds a mausoleum, puts her in this mausoleum, and I think you can kind of still see in it if you visit. But this story started to fascinate me, and I thought that would be so cool to go investigate this. They kept her in her bedroom in a glass coffin for over a year. Can you imagine that?
That sounds pretty odd.
Yeah,
yes,
pretty creepy. So I looked into the house. The house still stands, but it's been chopped up into apartments, so I doubt it's something we'd ever be able to investigate. But I just thought the story was really cool. I'm gonna at some point get her on my Facebook page or something and do a little interview to learn more about this story. But I was just like, it's weird how you just kind of run into things. I didn't expect to go to the mall and have anything productive happen. I was just killing time. And I end up meeting somebody who has a really cool story that I want to know more about. So kind of neat.
Bitter Troll says, kind of want to buy Jason a sombrero as a hat, as a bat-proof hat.
Wait a minute. You told me we were talking about going to a location that you are 100% certain there's going to be bats. Yep. You said you're going to wear what now? You're going to wear?
All right. So I like to do wood turning. So you got to sit there with your blade and the piece of wood spinning and you're carving it. And I have this face shield that comes down. It's a big plastic face shield and it covers my head. So I'm trying to see where I am on the scale. Right. So so it covers me like this. I told you, if we go investigate that place, fine, but I'm wearing that. I'm wearing that. I'm wearing the face shield.
I love that. I actually want to do it just so I can see you wearing that in the investigation. You'll be all armored up.
Says, any type of cases that you guys wouldn't accept? No, I mean, we've handled all kinds of cases. So, yeah, I mean, if somebody's in need, then we'll be there for them. All right, Fierce Fenner, how do you guys stay so calm in the darkness when activity is popping off all around you? Is there a type of paranormal activity that gets under your skin? Honestly, Fierce, the paranormal doesn't scare me. I mean, the dead don't scare me. The living scare the hell out of me. So, I guess I got a very calm demeanor.
Well, one to turn around. One of the things I'll say during the course of our investigations, and if you've watched the episodes, you've seen moments where we're both like, I don't know if it's startled, surprised, whatever, but we react to it. We're not afraid. We're more surprised than anything else. Sometimes we're really curious or excited because, hey, we may have just caught something. But you've never seen us running out of a room or running away or screaming. I'm not going to.
The only investigations I've ever turned down were I was asked if I would investigate the Ground Zero. 9/11 happened, and I said no, I wouldn't do that. Just first off, out of the respect for the dead and all the families who were hurt so bad. And I was asked also if I would investigate some places in Germany and
former concentration camps is what you're talking about. Yeah.
And no, I just would not. I wouldn't.
No, I feel that same way. There's just something morally, I think, wrong about doing that. At least now, it's too early. It's too soon. Maybe 80 years, but it's still too soon. And there's just too much. They're places that deserve nothing but respect, and not that we do anything disrespectful, but it's just, I think, if there are spirits there, they need to be left and honored. And we don't need to be poking around in there.
Exactly. So, all right, let's see. What do we got? Jason, what would you do? What would you do against Batman then? Well, Batman, I mean, you want to talk about the guy who got the shit end of the stick. He's a billionaire who actually didn't have any powers.
Shit end of the stick.
Yeah. Well, it's like,
only a plumber would say that.
Yeah. So, yeah. Anyways, so I guess on that post that person said about the remote control flashlight, I do want to acknowledge that I guess they said they were joking. So,
okay. Fair enough.
So I take back my middle finger.
Yeah, let me turn the remote off. There.
I'm man enough to admit that if you're joking, okay. So I apologize. What do you've never heard shit end of the stick?
I don't. Maybe I have. I don't know. It just sounds like a plumber saying.
Well, yeah. Plumber saying is shit don't flow uphill.
Well, there's that for sure. Yeah.
What's the saying? The three things: shit don't flow uphill. Paydays on Friday, and never sleep with the boss's wife.
Those are the plumber sayings.
So that is. So, you two and John need to do a Ghostbuster skit. Sharon, well, actually, it's funny. I was asked. A couple of us were asked to be in the reboot of Ghostbusters, and it was actually when Dan was writing the new one, but then I guess there were some problems and it didn't happen, and they ended up making a female cast. But yeah, they wanted us to do an appearance in it. So, Lee Clifford, do you investigate any old houses or cemeteries in Providence? My ancestors were one of the first people there. I have investigated a bunch of old homes in Providence. So, but let's see. Do you all still work a 9 to 5? I mean, yeah, my job. Yeah, I mean, we do our own things. Yeah, I'm still a plumber, so I'll check out jobs, price out jobs.
Let me just tell you this. Not you, Jay, but whoever asked that question, I didn't see it there. But this project, this labor of love that we're doing here is way more than 9 to 5. You and I are editing like 12 hours a day sometimes. I mean, seriously. Yeah. And it's, part of it is because we're not professionally trained editors. So, it may take us longer than someone else might be able to do it. But either way, we go through, when we come back from an investigation, we usually have 3 days of 3 or 4 or more cameras to go through, audio recordings to go through, and we're doing it ourselves. So
we got to sync it all up and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and it's not something we were trained in. I mean, we weren't trained in editing.
Exactly.
And so I mean, we're learning as we go.
So we're putting a lot of hours into it. It doesn't seem like work to us because we do enjoy it, but it is time consuming, very time consuming.
Empirical Paranormal, you should go on your own comedy tour. It'd be great. Yeah, I'm not sure that the world would totally get us. So, I mean, I think we might be banned rather soon. Queen Minion says, would you ever go back to Myrtle Plantation? I would go back there in a heartbeat. Esther was a phenomenal person, and I loved the location. So
Aurora says, Jason JV, last week's premiere was great. So glad you all got to go back and spend more time there investigating. We were really happy about that too. When we were there the first time, I think it was May of last year, if I remember correctly. I might be wrong on that. But whenever it was very busy in Gettysburg. And so there was a lot of contamination. Plus it was super hot when we were there. So the air conditioning had to be running. That provided contamination. But either way, it's a beautiful place. And we said at that point, we have to come back here when we've got more flexibility to spend and more time to be there.
And Ed Thomas says, you don't have Steve and Dave to enslave to evidence review anymore. That's the one thing that I didn't really care about the show. The show made it seem like I didn't review anything. And it used to drive me crazy because I reviewed all the time. So, but whatever. Jay, no more Roto-Rooter. No, I still work for Roto-Rooter, Carol. Yeah, Carol asked, Jay, no more Roto-Rooter. Yep, still work for Roto. Been with him for, almost going on 24, 25 years. So, yeah, it looks like, is Kenny Biddle here in there now?
I think I saw his name scroll through. Hey, Kenny.
Hey, Kenny, welcome to the chat. Joe was telling us how you like to be blindfolded and left in rooms with a bunch of people. So I said, count me in. So, all right. All right, Sherry, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. And she says, have you ever thought about doing a tribute visit to Meatloaf, of all places he investigated with you? The last thing Meatloaf ever filmed was with me in Tennessee. And, I haven't thought about going back, to be honest with you. All right, let's see. All right, there's Kenny. I only do it for science. Well, then I got a few science experiments for you, Kenny.
Get the blindfold. Get the blindfold. We're going to do some science.
Yeah, we're about to have some fun. All right. Jesus Christ. I'm going to be so banned. All right.
I want to say this, and I don't know if you want me to, Jay, but I'm going to say it anyway. Cut me off if I shouldn't be talking about this. But when we were in Rolling Hills, there was a room called the Portal Room. What was that? Remember that room? What was the Vortex Room? Yeah. Vortex Room.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, sorry.
And Sharon Coyle, the owner, had said that a lot of people are able to connect with others that have passed, specifically call them out and you connect with them. So we tried that. And Jay, you were really reluctant, but we did spend a few minutes and you did try to reach out to Meatloaf there. I don't think we got any result. I don't think any of us got any results when we were there trying that. However, that was hard for you to do at that point. So I can't imagine that, going whatever. That's just a difficult topic, I guess.
Well, and it was tough because, it's, we filmed this investigation with Meatloaf, and then it was like a week or two after I talked to him. I'm like, hey, man, I'm going to be getting a cut of the episode, so we'll get on video chat, and we'll watch it together and go over it. He's like, love it, love the idea. And then quickly things took a quick turn for him, and, so we never got a chance. But, and he was a phenomenal guy. When I say, he was part of my family. He really was. He would talk to my kids. He would see them and everything else. So, I even took you up to hang out with him one night, man. And he tried to get me up on stage. Remember?
I do remember. You're like, there's no way I'm going up.
20,000 people there, and he's like,
he wanted you to sing.
He stops in the middle of his concert and he's like, hey, how many of you guys saw me on Ghost Hunters? And people are cheering. And he's like, well, Jason is sitting right over here. And I'm like hiding behind. I'm going to get him up on stage in a few and get him to sing with me. And he's looking at me and I'm like, no, you're not. After the concert, I'm like, what the hell were you doing? He goes, hey, I came on your show. I go, yeah, you asked to come on my show. I didn't ask to come on the stage and sing a damn song with you.
That's right.
So
it would have been epic though if you'd done it. It would have been epic.
I couldn't have done it, man. It's just not me. But you know what? He gave me the best advice ever. When we first really started hanging out and got close, I had said, man, I get up on stage and I speak in front of, 3, 4, 5,000 people. I said, you get up on stage and speak in front of, 20 and sing in front of 20 and 30,000. I said, how do you do it? Because, even 3, 4, 5,000 people, it's a lot of people.
Sure.
When people clap or they laugh, you can feel it because it hits you. And his best advice, and this is exactly what he told me. He goes, Jay, the one thing I know is when I'm up on stage, I'm going to fuck up. He goes, it's how I roll out of my fuck up. It sets me apart from everybody else. And I was like, holy crap. It made total sense to me. So that's why it's like when I'm up on stage and we're doing our thing, we screw up, I just roll with it and have fun with it and just play off of it and so forth. And it was the best advice he ever gave me. So,
yep.
Mika Hawkins, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Says, talking about Providence, if H.P. Lovecraft's house is still around, you ought to look into investigating there. I would love to. I mean, that would be great.
Question from Frozen Frost. Question from my friend for you, Jason. What is the scariest Ghost Hunters episode that you filmed?
The scariest episode I filmed would be, well, we did a lady's home by the name of Linda, and I don't even remember what season it was because I think we aired it. But when we first walked into her house, we kind of got rushed back out because she was on some severe medication and she had a loaded shotgun behind her door and a 357 under her pillow and a bunch of other stuff. And, you know, her problems weren't paranormal and she needed help otherwise than that. So I think for safety reasons but Kenny Biddle says, I'm still waiting for Jay to get his ass to Buffalo. Kenny, I'm from upstate New York. I grew up 30 miles outside of Buffalo. I don't want to go to Buffalo, especially in the winter. And I told you this. I told you, hey, talk to me in the summer. I'll come up. I'll see you. We'll do something. But I'm not going to Buffalo in the winter. I've dealt with that crap. But, I'd love to get together with you and do some stuff, man. And I know we're going to be seeing each other soon. So looking forward to it.
Matthew's referring to Frank, the sound guy, and what happened to him.
Oh, yeah, Frank. Well, Frank had an experience at New Bedford Armory that kind of made him not want to be involved in the show anymore. So, and I totally get it. I mean, he was not a guy who was a believer of the paranormal. So when he had that experience, it was kind of life-changing. And that's the thing. A lot of these production people sign on to do a television show. They don't sign on to have paranormal experiences. So when they do, sometimes it's too much for them and they just don't want to be a part of it anymore. Kenny Biddle says it's all Beardo's fault. Everything is Beardo's fault.
That seems to be the consensus, isn't it?
Yeah, and if it's not Beardo's fault, then it's the side-eye guy's fault. So it's one of them. And if both of them fail, then I'll just blame it on Joe Vitale.
Jen, #leave Beardo alone.
He's a good guy. So, but all right, what other questions we got here, man?
Oh, let's see here. JV has his own jam session on the stage. That's so great. I do play in a band. Sure, I just started playing with some new guys. We're having fun. You all should check out Snow Hill.
For gifting the 10 memberships. Thank you.
Oh, Big Hair. Where have you been? The funny thing is, Big Hair, I was just looking at something. I can't remember what it was. I was going through computer files and cleaning stuff out, and I saw a screenshot I had taken of something you had said that was funny, and I'm like, God, I haven't seen or heard from Big Hair in forever. Welcome back, my friend. Good to see you.
All right. So, Sisters of Mercy, ever thought about visiting the Saratoga battlefield? It would be a lot of outdoor investigating with a beautiful area. I would love to investigate places like that, but also when you're outside, you're dealing with contamination. So anything you catch needs to be kind of overly questioned. So, Carlene Peak, when your show streams, why doesn't Titanic episode play? It should. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't. So,
what was this about Titanic? What was it?
Carlene Peak says, when your show streams, why doesn't the Titanic episode play? It should.
Oh, gotcha.
I don't think there's any licensing fee issues with it.
So Barbara, you say when you see me investigate, it reminds you of Meatloaf. That's a great honor that you say that. I don't see anything in common. He's a legend. I'm just me. And I thank you for giving me that honor, but I don't see the connection. I will say this, I'm a real fan of Meatloaf, and I love the music legacy that he left us. Some great stuff there, and I love his role in Rocky Horror Picture Show still. It's so good. But yeah, thank you.
All right. So Frozen Frost, what I love about Jason and JV is they don't use all that flashy tech the other ones do. Just your ears and feelings. Well, not just. I mean, we do use some equipment, but it's more testing out equipment, seeing if it's going to be beneficial to the field. I mean, there's no point to bust out some of the equipment that's just going to make noises and irritate us or not allow us to catch any evidence. So it's more about finding things that I think can help push the field forward. So,
yeah. And the other thing about a lot of the tech is that too many investigators just become fixated on watching whatever it is, a screen, a light, or whatever, and they're completely oblivious to what's happening around them in the room. And I don't think that is good. You could say, well, if you guys could do it differently, and we try to, but again, when you've got a screen or a flashing light, it's hard not to just focus on it, and you're missing what's happening around you. And I think that's a shame.
Yeah. So, and we gotta get overseas. We gotta get overseas to investigate with Beardo at some of those places over there.
That'd be so cool. That'd be so cool. So. Absolutely.
All right. Well,
wait. Guys, before you cut it off, I really want to address this question. Kevin says, "What's the reasoning for investigating in complete darkness?" I'll tell you why I think it's important. Jake can answer it the way he wants. I think.
Thank you so much, Candace.
There's a couple of reasons that we investigate at nighttime. One is that it's quieter generally, and that's a big help. But the other thing is that a lot of the activity that you may or may not catch is related to light anomalies. I mean, and in the daytime you can't necessarily pick up light anomalies like you can at night. So for that reason, it's an advantage to investigating at night. But we don't only just investigate at night. We've done a lot of daytime investigating too. If people say the activity occurs in daytime, we'll spend all day investigating. We're not really that biased to it.
We just did that at Escape Pierce. We just investigated during the day as well. But most claims of paranormal activity are between the hours of 8 p.m. and 4 a.m. So that's when people are experiencing it. So, of course, and to be honest with you, most people have jobs. So it's, you can only go when you've got time. But yeah, so hopefully that explains it. But on that note, guys, it's getting late. I want to say thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. And, we look forward to doing this again. But next week, we'll be putting out the investigation for the Bundy House.
Bundy House. It's an interesting place. It's a beautiful place. I think you'll enjoy it. So we'll have that out for Monday night, and the interview in between will come up too.
And thank you so much to Jen Hates Social Media, our mod. Thank you so much for taking the time out tonight. And again, thank you all for hanging out with us. It means everything to us. So stay safe, keep it real, and on to the next.